14 years ago, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, or MS. I suspect a lot of you know somebody who's been diagnosed with MS. It's not contagious, so you don't need to worry about that. It is lifelong, incurable, debilitating, and degenerative, which basically means I'm always going to have it. It's going to get worse, and throughout my life, there are going to be things that I can do today that I'm not going to be able to do year after year. It's going to continue that way. Now that I hear it, that sounds really, really depressing and a horrible way to start this talk, but that's not what I'm going to talk about. I'm not here to talk about my disease and how horrible it is, or how horrible it is to be me. It's awesome to be me. I'm here to talk about my disease and how it's made me a better person and how it's made my life better. And more importantly, I'm here to talk to you and say, whatever challenges you're facing, it's up to you how you deal with it. And it's up to you what your life is going to be. The choice is 100% up to you. And that is what I'm here to talk to you about today. With that in mind, the whole idea that it's your choice what your life is going to be. About 10 years ago, I took a 1,500-mile bike ride from St. Joe, Missouri to New York City at a time when, not unlike today, I was 40 pounds overweight, and I knew that every mile I rode was going to be harder than it would be, honestly, for most of you because of the MS, because my legs didn't work as well as somebody else's. Obviously, this was before the wheelchair. But you can see, there we go, there's a beautiful picture of me. You can see that I use a wheelchair today, and while I don't have to use it all the time, really just when I'm going to be walking more than about 30 feet, or when I have to stand more than about 5 minutes, like today, it's still a very big part of my life. I use it every day to get from my car to my office, or from my car to meetings, or whatever. So my wheelchair is always there. And so you're able to see that I have issues to deal with because you're able to see my wheelchair. But my wheelchair has taught me a lot, and I've really kind of boiled that down to three things that I've learned from my wheelchair and from this thing that I have to deal with. What you're going to find out is that I talk a lot about being happy. And the reason I do that is because I really believe that the first part of living the life that you want to live, of building an incredible future, of really fulfilling your destiny as a human being, I think that that all starts with being happy. And I also think that it's in your power to be that. You're going to make choices every day to be happy, to be not happy, and so much of that is under your control. So here are my three things. Three things that I have learned from my wheelchair about being happy and living an awesome life. Number one, whether you're happy or not is all up to you. Every day you're going to decide, is this a day that I'm going to be happy or I'm going to be unhappy? There are going to be all kinds of things that might help you make that decision, but in the end, it's up to you. And we don't know what the world is going to throw at you. We don't know what people are going to do. Just about every day, you're going to encounter something that's difficult. You're going to encounter somebody who irritates you. It's going to happen. You know that's true. You can't control that. All you can control is how we all have to deal with something in some way that blesses us in some way. We all have something that we have to accommodate. Now, I learned these lessons for two reasons. Number one, because they're just true, and so I better learn them. But number two, I learned it because really my only other alternative was to, basically be an unhappy person. Do you have any idea how easy it would be for me to sit in this wheelchair and be unhappy and live kind of a, pretty bad life? How many people do we all know who do that? How many people do we know who take their struggles, their difficulties in life, the things that they face, and become those things? They let those things define them as human beings and live unhappy, unfulfilled lives. And I wasn't about to let that happen to me. Number 3 is super true. We all have a wheelchair. Every one of us deals with something. Somebody in this room has a tough home life. Somebody in this room has some sort of major health struggle. Somebody in this room is a victim. Whether we can see it or not, that list goes on and on and on. And unlike my wheelchair, your wheelchair may not be visible. Nobody else may be able to see it. But you see it, and you know it's there, and you have to deal with it. We know all kinds of people. We know people who take their wheelchairs and put it on their back and live with it. And live with it in a sad way. They let that wheelchair define them. And we know other people who take their wheelchairs and use it as a way to uplift them, and use it as a way to step up, as a way to live life in a better, more positive, more powerful way. We both know plenty of both of those kinds of people. Well, my wheelchair has forced me to think. It's forced me to ask some really important questions about the kind of life that I want to live and who I want to be. Number 1, what do I contribute? Number 2, what am I going to do to make this world a better place for those around me? And number 3, how am I going to make the most of my life with this little amount of time that I have on this earth? And those are the questions that I put to you today. That is why I'm here today, is to ask those questions of you. What are you contributing? What are you doing to make this world a better place for everybody that's around you, everybody in this audience, everybody in your lives? And what are you doing to make the most of this life? It's all up to you. Does your wheelchair give you an excuse to be sad, to be upset, to give up, to do less? Or does your wheelchair empower you? Does it uplift you? Does it give you a motivation to do more, to be more? What is your wheelchair, and what are you going to do about it? We've already talked about that. Everybody's got it. You're going to have to deal with something. What are you going to do about your wheelchair? You're the only one who can decide that. It is 100% up to you. Thank you.